This is Janice, and this is Chopsticks. And Janice is a turbo dog barker that she's demonstrating. Come here, sit. Sit. In this video, I'm going to go over how you can teach your dog to focus. I have a handful of treats in my left hand, and I am cutting them in half because she's a little dog. And I'm going to hold one in my right hand. I'm holding it between my thumb and forefinger, and I'm going to hold it against my knee to prevent her from being able to get it. Now, most dogs, what they're going to do is they're going to try to lick it off of your knee. When the dog does that, Chop, I need you over here, buddy. You're awfully cute, but we need good camera presence. There we go. I know, he was in your shot. I told him, sit. So now, we should have filmed this a minute ago because we just practiced this with her. But she was normally licking at my hand and pawing at my hand, which is normal. What I'm doing is waiting for her to look at me, focus, and then giving her going to the treat. Now what I'm doing, if you notice, I'm raising it to my nose first. Now this is what's more typical. The dog's going to try to take it. I'm just waiting. I'm not making any sounds. I'm waiting for her to look up at me voluntarily. Not supposed to look at the camera. Janice. Janice, come here. Of course you're not going to cooperate, are you? No, they say that you don't want to work with dogs or animals or children in Hollywood. So basically what we'll do is we'll do a little bit with Chop. So what we do is the dog goes for looks at your hand and keeps on licking your hand and pawing at, trying to get it. As soon as the dog looks up at you, you raise it to your nose, you go straight towards the dog's mouth, and you say, focus, after it goes in the dog's mouth. Now, at first, when the dog does this, it's going to really be pawing at you and licking, and you see a little stain right here of wetness because she was really licking my hand. I blew for him, but you don't normally want to do that because he's not very treat motivated. What we want is the dog to kind of get frustrated and then look up at the human. When it looks at the human takes the treat and raises it straight to the nose. There's a tunnel of vision here between us. If he looks up at me and I go like this, he's looking down at my knees. I want to condition him in this exercise to look up at me in the face. So as soon as he looks up at me, I raise it here, and then I go straight to his mouth and say, focus, after the treat goes in his mouth. Now each movement at first is 1 second, 1 second, and don't wait here. This is how it should look real time. So he looks up at me, focus. And I always say the command word after the treat goes in the dog's mouth. After a while, the dog will pretty much at least be staring at you the whole time. Now for all 12 treats, I have 1 second, 1 second. I like the guardians. There's 3 people in the house. I'd like to have each dog practice, well, primarily her, but we could practice with him if he's interested. About 3 times a day with her, each person once a day at least. And if 2 people are going to be gone, then 1 person is here would practice 3 times a day. Don't do it in a row. Practice it throughout the day and practice it in different locations. Dogs don't generalize well. They need to do things in different locations in order to really learn it. So at first it's 1 second, 1 second, pretty much all 3 times the first day. When she starts pretty much looking up at you right away and she's not trying to take it anymore, then we go 1 second, 2 seconds on that second movement only for all 12 treats. And then the next person would do maybe 2 seconds, or if the dog seems to be doing well, we go to 3 seconds. The idea is by the end of the week, we go like this. 1 second to 20 seconds. Now, if we move this too far, too fast, Janice is probably going to jump up at us. Focus to get the treat. And when you're holding it, make sure you're holding it in a way where you can see the treat and the dog's eyes all at the same time. So that's why we don't hold it here, here, here. Now, the idea is to get up to 20 seconds in the house with the dogs. Yes, Janice, I'm moving a little bit, but she didn't bark this much this time. A little bit. There we go. The idea is, again, we're going to get up to that 20 seconds within a week. Sit. Sit. After we've gotten to 20 seconds in a week, then what we're going to do is when we're going to practice it just right outside the front door. We have kind of a little courtyard between the 2 buildings. So basically then we want to maybe go to the bottom step and sit there and have her on a leash now because we're outside, and then practice it outside. Now when you're outside, there's a lot of distractions and it's easy for the dog to lose focus. So we go back to 1 second, 1 second when we're outside. And then we gradually work our way back up to 1 second, 20 seconds. And again, this is sitting on those steps or just in the courtyard somewhere here. Now, after we get, and this time you can move faster, so maybe this will only take about 2 or 3 days if we're practicing sufficient. Now, 3 times is the minimum I'd like the guardians practice. You can practice it more than that. And you'll accelerate things by practicing more than that. Dublin, she went to the new dog bed name. Okay, so the last step is to actually, well, second last step is to practice this when we're on walks and there are no people or no dogs around. Now remember, for her, because she's reactive, we want to try to walk her at times of the day or locations where we're going to run as few people as possible so she doesn't continue practicing this. We spent a lot of time in the session going over a lot of the reasons why she does this demand barking, primarily because she didn't have any rules and she's able to tell the humans when to pet her. And so she's used to barking literally barking orders at people. So basically what we do is when we're out walking, now that we've established it, and we should say focus, the dog looks up at us no matter what. So when we're walking her, we're walking down the street and there's no one around. Every once in a while, just say focus. When she looks up at you, raise the treat and go 1 second and then 1 second. Now you're going for your hand and don't stop when you're walking. Keep walking. But now we want to teach her while I'm on a leash to look up at the human on command. And what we want to do is keep on practicing that. And again, it's 1 second, 1 second, but eventually get back to 1 second, 20 seconds while you're walking. She's like running into things because she's not looking, she's looking up at the human. So if you develop this as a really strong command, combined with the other things, she's going to be less of a proclivity to want to bark like that. But she's also going to be able to be easily redirectable. But the key is don't start using this until you got the 20 seconds on a walk. Really, you don't have to necessarily do 20 seconds on a walk. At least 10 seconds on a walk before you start trying to use it as a command when there are other dogs around or people or whatever she's reacting to. In the meantime, what she's trying to say is, I don't like this person, this dog this close to me. So we can help her feel comfortable by increasing the distance between her and the other dog. So sometimes we have to do that by walking down somebody's driveway, or walking around a tree or a car or a shrub or something. Walk around something, and with this technique, once she settles down a little bit, then you can practice a little bit of focus and go back to this way while you're letting the other dog and the person pass. And make sure they pass, and then you go back and continue on your way. But if you do this well, eventually she sees somebody else and she starts like lowering her head or staring. Those are the first signs typically. So as soon as you see her lower her head, you say focus, she looks up at you. Stopping an argument before it gets really going is much easier. Same sort of thing for dog behavior and demand barking. Demand barking is really like a culmination of a lot of different things. But being able to have a strong redirect command that the dog responds to is a great tool in your arsenal to help you stop a dog from demand barking. Sit. So one little tip, anytime you're using a treat, sit. Always go back to the dog's nose. Try to keep it within an inch of the dog's nose. If I go like this and I go way up here, she stops tracking it. So see, now I can get her, if I keep it close, she's interested. As long as these are a stinky treat. Make sure that they're like, these are chicken liver. The smell of the treat is more important than the taste. See if I can lure her into it down. Crash. That's how I lure a dog into the down. Okay, well, these are some tips and tricks that you can use to teach your dog to focus, which will help your dog literally focus on you and stop barking at the world.